Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Covington City Council meeting for Tuesday, December 9th. In compliance with state law, City Council special and regular meetings are held in a hybrid format with in-person, telephonic, and virtual options for public viewing and participation. With that, we'll call this meeting to order. And Krista, if you could please call the roll.
Councilmember Soltis.
Here.
Councilmember Porter.
Here.
Councilmember Hartsock.
Here.
Councilmember Hartshausen.
Present.
Councilmember Samomo.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Here.
And Mayor Wagner.
Here.
We have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you, Krista. If everybody could please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. With that, we'll move on to approval of agenda. Regan, do we have any changes tonight?
No changes tonight, Mayor.
All right, thank you. We'll look for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The agenda has been approved. We do not have public communication, but we would like to recognize our outgoing council member. So if everybody could please join me in front of the dais. Go your center this time, not at the end. So Joe, it's your last council meeting for now. Never know, you might be back. For 12 years, you've been on the council. I still remember the first day right after you were elected, coming in and talking to me. We won't discuss that. There was very good conversation. I'm sure Mark remembers some of that, but it was very good. And you've done a great job on the council. We appreciate everything you've done, everything you've stood for. Cynthia and your boys and you have done a great job being involved in this community and gone above and beyond. So we want to thank you for that. And we have a party gift for you that we would like to give you on behalf of the city and the council. Okay.
Hey, Mark. Kind of match now. City of Covington, Growing Towards Greatness, Joseph Samomo Jr., City Council Member, 2014 to 2025. Doesn't fit. No, I just make sure it fits. Sorry.
That's awesome. Looks good.
Yep.
This color are good.
Very good. So, you want to say anything?
I'll say it. Comments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does it, you don't want to say anything? You want to wait till that?
I have to appreciate everything you do, and you've done. When one door closes, another opens.
Just again, we appreciate everything you've done. So thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're
Let's get a picture.
all right.
Scooch in there.
All right. I'm gonna do.
There you go.
Actually, no, we get down.
They told me make sure my braces. 1, 2, 3. Good luck.
So we're gonna take a 10 minutes to have cake and a reception for Mr. Samomo. You bet. We have cake in the back.
Yeah.
Welcome back. We coming back from a reception for our outgoing council member Samomo. And we'll go right into our first of two public comment periods. Speakers will state their name, organization, and whether they are a Covington resident. Comments are directed to City Council, not the audience or staff. Comments are to be related to city business. Comments are not intended for conversation or debate and are limited to 4 minutes per speaker. For attendees participating by Zoom, click the raise hand button. For attendees participating by phone, please dial *9 to raise your hand. Once the city grants permission to speak, press unmute in Zoom or dial *6 to unmute by phone. Please note campaigning for any ballot measure or candidate at City Hall or during council meetings, including public comment, is prohibited by state law RCW 42.178.555. Excuse me. And Debbie, you signed up first. Come on up. Welcome. Thanks for being here tonight.
Appreciate it. My name is Debbie Machen. Let's make sure. I am a Covington resident. I have been for many, many years. I'm here today because of a parking issue. I've talked to Bob, can't remember his last name, and his supervisor, Dawn, which I think is on Zoom tonight because I talked to him earlier on the phone. I've also talked to an officer. His last name is Davy. It's Davy. I do have a citation number with him. The problem with the parking is I live at the corner of 278th Place and Southeast Wax Road, between the new memory care center and the apartment building that sits on the corner of Covington Sawyer Road and Wax Road. No parking signs were put up on the side of the road. It's south of me. Because the people in the apartment buildings that are pulling out can't see to the left. Therefore, now my fence line has become the new parking zone. So they park on my fence line. So we can't see to the right. Now, I'm so sorry, I don't know the last names. Bob came out, he did take a picture of it. He took a picture of a car parked on the side of the road. And it was in broad daylight. Sure, you can see down the road, no problem. However, what he didn't see is that when there's 4 cars parked out there and it's pouring down rain, it's dark outside, you cannot see down that road. We were advised to just merge into traffic a little bit to see if we could see around the corner. Around the traffic, I don't find that to be a safe situation. We got kids in the car, or even your own self, you don't want to pull out into oncoming traffic to be able to see to the right. So I've asked for them to put no parking signs there. They said visibility is fine for them. It was in the daytime. I agree. You can see. So we called the police officer out, Mr. Davy, or Officer Davy, and he came out because the car in question that had been there 8 days. He came down. He ticketed the car. He told me that car should not be parked there. It was legally parked, yes. But visually parked, no, you can't see around it. He agreed with the fact that we cannot see around those vehicles when they park out there. He advised me to come to this meeting and address all of you. And he also said that, see if they can do something with the parking situation. I'm still talking to Dawn, so I'm hoping that he does something with that and comes out when the visibility is poor. He also told me to talk about a civil suit. I have no idea how to do that or what is entailed. But I really hope I don't want to go that way. I'd rather just have a situation now. I don't want to have it come to the situation where we say, no, we don't need to have a parking sign because we can see fine until there's an accident and someone gets hit. I'm a proactive person. If I see a situation that looks like it's going to be a problem, we need to fix the problem now before it becomes a problem. We don't want to escalate into something that's worse than what it could be. And people need to be safe when they're out there taking that turn. And so that's why I'm here.
Great. Well, thank you for your comments. I know that it's come to Dawn, and Regan is keeping us, Regan's our city manager and is keeping us apprised of what's going on there and the next steps that are coming up.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to send him the voicemail I have from the officer because he sent me a voicemail telling me that he does agree with the fact that those cars should not be parked there and the vision is not good with those cars parked down there.
I think if it's in a voicemail, I think it would be in a police report too, wouldn't it, Chief?
Voicemails are typically not police
Okay.
reports, but he may have written one.
He did write them down.
Okay,
The
I will
gentleman
try
who
to-
called me back
I'll
from
find it.
911. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
Okay, the gentleman who called me back from 911, he was reading it to me off of the incident report, which I
Okay.
can provide that incident report to Dawn with the incident report number.
Okay,
Okay,
perfect.
Thank
Great,
you.
Thank you, and thank you. It was good seeing you again, and thank you for being here tonight.
Oh, thank you.
Bet, if we don't know about what's going
Yeah.
on,
That's
we
true.
can't fix it.
That's why
So
I'm
thank
here.
you.
Thank you.
I don't have anybody else on the sign-up sheet. Is there anybody else in the audience wishing to address council this evening? Yes. Welcome. Thanks for being here tonight.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Deputy Chief Kelch with your fire department, Puget Sound Fire. I just wanted to let you know that the Puget Sound Fire is stood up our EOC tonight for some possible flooding. Doesn't appear to be anything that would affect Covington. However, I just wanted you to know that it is happening, and if either Public Works or anybody sees anything and needs assistance, we have somebody staffing their EOC for 24 hours throughout the night. So if anything comes up. They are expecting, basically the Howard Hanson Dam has reached capacity, apparently a high that they haven't seen since the 50s. So they need to release some water, and that water is coming downstream to us. Kent has also stood up their EOC for the night. So their Public Works has already closed a few roads. But all the reports I saw is really nothing right here in Covington. So if you see anything, you need any help, you have my number, reach out to us.
Great. Thank you very much. And thank you for everybody and everything that you guys do.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
You have
Is-
Ashley?
Would this be a situation where you might engage the CERT, Community Emergency Response Team, or is it probably not going to escalate to that?
I do not think it's going to escalate
Okay.
to that. The CFM, the flow that they're predicting is almost, it's at a safe range.
Okay.
Actually, it's going to reach the tops of a lot of different river banks, but we don't expect any flooding in any residential areas or anything.
Okay, thank you.
Christina?
I know this is a very specific question, but, and I know you mentioned that there's nothing closed off in Covington yet, but
Yeah.
do you know, 256, very close to I mean, Covington is right on the border right there, and 148th is often it's like the first place that floods. Do you know if that road is closed by any chance? Because that would affect our residents significantly.
To my knowledge, it's not closed off.
Okay.
Now,
Wasn't this
Nope.
morning. Yeah.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay.
No. One
I'll let you
forty-eight,
know.
Just
one
far as-
forty-eight has 3 inches of water over it this afternoon at 5. So
I believe I saw.
that was it.
Public Works signs or maybe even truck out in that area.
Right.
It wasn't flooded over the road, but there was somebody in the area.
Yeah.
So I think somebody's keeping an eye on it for you already.
Excellent,
Yep.
thank you.
Thank you. Actually, this is just a follow on to Christina's comment or question, but I thought there was some remediation that happened on 256 last summer that was supposed to mitigate that flood problem. It was part of Reagan Dunn money,
There
Yeah,
was
they did
water,
some of it, but
Yeah.
but there's still
there
water.
was water over the street this morning.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
Unless,
Yep.
Yeah, I was there.
unless they put a lifting
Okay.
road.
thank you. Is there anybody else in the audience wishing to address council this evening? Is there anybody online wishing to address council? Please raise your hand. All right, seeing nobody approach the podium and nobody raise their hand, we'll close this public comment period, and we'll have a second opportunity towards the end of our meeting. Next up is approval of the consent agenda consisting of items C1 through C10. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
second,
Been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you. We'll move into new business to consider a resolution adopting the 2026 City of Covington fee schedule and repealing the 2025 fee schedule. Welcome. How are you tonight?
Good evening. I'm doing well. How are
Good.
you?
Very good. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you all. I'm Kelly Thompson. I'm the city's Administrative Services Manager, and tonight we have the 2026 proposed fee schedule. And each year we review and update the schedule, which include our land use development, building permit, administrative, and impact fees. So for 2026, the Seattle, Tacoma, Bellevue CPI increased was 2.72%. And staff recommend adjusting the fee schedule by that same amount to keep pace with the costs and maintain consistency with the council policy of development paying for development and 100% cost recovery. Staff also recommend continuing the full consultant pass-through model. This ensures applicants pay the actual consultant costs that their project requires. Internally, we're improving the program by implementing some new BARS codes, which will enhance tracking of consultant charges and recovery of fees. As we prepared this year's fee resolution, two consistent concerns emerged from the development community, and those were transparency and predictability. First, developers want clear information about what generates consultant review and inspection costs. And in response, staff is working with Pertique to prepare a new handout that outlines typical inspection types, associated administrative steps, and how those translate into billable hours. Second, developers, particularly small and mid-sized builders, are looking for better ways to anticipate inspection costs. Staff is developing an inspection estimation tool based on the developer's scope of work that will give applicants a rough estimate of expected inspection hours. And we expect this tool to be completed early next year. Looking ahead, process changes tied to SB 5290 and possible statewide subdivision reforms may require additional fee adjustments in 2026 or later. And that basically summarizes the changes that we've got proposed for 2026. So with that, I'm happy to answer any specific questions you may have.
Does council have any questions for Kelly? No, guess not. Thank you very much.
Okay, then thanks for your time and attention, and we appreciate your consideration of our proposed fee changes.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
So council, before us is the proposal to approve the proposed resolution adopting the 2026 fee schedule as presented. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Jennifer, would you like to speak to your motion?
Sure. I appreciate the practical approach of a pass-through model. It makes sense. It makes it easier, obviously, to explain and enhances trust with the developers we're working with. So thank you.
Beth, would you like to speak to your second?
Just to add on what Jennifer said, that I think it's important to listen to developers and figure out what their concerns are, and to at least give them enough heads up so they know what's coming and can plan and budget for that. So I appreciate that.
Is there anybody else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Sean?
Appreciate this as well. And I guess what I would say is I also appreciate the being proactive in our communications with people that are impacted by these fee changes, so that there are, I don't want to say no surprises, fewer surprises. I think that's a good practice, shows customer service, and I appreciate that we're taking notice of that. So thank you.
Is there anybody else wishing to speak for or against the motion? I have a question for you, Selena, or maybe it needs to go to Mark. The motion, does it need to state that we're repealing the 2025 fee schedule in it? The resolution or not? Or does it automatically?
That's a great question. I don't know.
If I can jump in, I believe, I'll check right now, but I believe the resolution itself has a repeal.
Yeah.
Okay.
1 minute, I will pull up the resolution and make. Yeah, so section 3 of the proposed resolution repeals the 2025 fee resolution. So the motion does not need to have anything further in it.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Appreciate that. Thank you, Selena. It's been moved and seconded to approve the proposed resolution adopting the 2026 fee schedule as presented. All those in favor state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you. Next is new business item number 2. To consider an ordinance adopting the 2026 operating and capital budget. Regan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, we've had a wonderful budget season. Thank you, council, for your deliberations and the work we put into this, the several different meetings, and especially the thoughtful questions and discussion we had at our budget workshop. What I'd like to do is just quickly review the changes that we've made through that process from what was originally presented to what is before you tonight. Those changes to the general fund. So we have additional property tax revenue that we're expecting of 75,000, surface water utility taxes of 9,640, additional funding for the human services of 13,650, a $3,000 grant to the Equity Cultural Social Justice Commission, solid waste contract increase of $12,000, additional funding for community care coordinator position at $25,000, and additional funding for a police officer at $291,000. That captures the changes, all the ones that we've had most of the discussions about. And we're happy to take any questions. And again, just thank you for another wonderful cycle. It's hard to believe we're here adopting another budget for the next year. And we're happy to take any questions if you have them.
Great. Thank you, Regan. Does council have any questions tonight? All right. I just want to say, Casey, Regan, and to the entire team for a very well balanced budget, fiscally responsible, and that's very, very appreciated to bring it forward to us. So with that, we have a ordinance to potentially pass in substantial form. Is that attached here to adopting the 2026 operating and capital budget? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Joe, would you like to speak to your motion?
This budget didn't have everything we wanted. We didn't have the magic wand to give us absolutely everything. But what we do have is going to make sure that the city runs smoothly next year. We're going to make sure that the city is doing everything it can to continue on with our tagline of growing towards greatness, because it's not just the dollars that are in here. It's people who are making sure we're spending those dollars correctly. Everyone at that over there is going to make sure that everyone over here isn't trying to run us too thin or do something too crazy. So I appreciate that. And I think it was the conversations we had, especially at our budget meeting, were passionate to the point that we made sure every dollar was going to the right places. And I commend you on that work, and I look forward to seeing what this does next year.
Thank you, Joe. Jennifer, would you like to speak to your second?
Yes, a huge thank you to staff, to my questions and comments, and I will not be digging out my notes from my bag anymore, so you don't have to worry with that. I know that we did a very thorough job, and I appreciate staff's willingness to think with us outside the box a little bit to get the police officer. And I think that we did a really great job with the budget as a collaborative team. So thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Is there anybody else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Debbie.
Thank you. Well, I also want to thank staff, Regan and staff, that we expect now, I mean, for the time that I've been here, I've come to expect that we get a balanced budget that not only gets us through next year, but has us poised to get through the next several years. And that's what we need to do. And it was tough to make some of the decisions, or that we may still make. But I think that, at least I'll speak for myself, namely being able to add another police officer is something that I'm proud we were able to do. And hopefully the year end will look better than anticipated, and we won't have to make too many more cuts to get there. So I appreciate your help.
Thanks, Debbie. Is there anybody else wishing to speak for? Beth.
It was a very different process this year, just because of kind of the timing of our budget workshop. I appreciate all of the openness of staff, council. I mean, we had some interesting conversations that we have not yet had. And as we grow, we may end up having more of those types of conversations. And when we try to look at this budget through the eyes of how can we help our community as a whole, I think it speaks to the togetherness and to the oneness of the mission that we're trying to achieve, both from staff, council, and our commissions. And I appreciate that. And we don't know what'll happen in 2026. I mean, there's always that potential that we may have to make some budget amendments, but right now I think it speaks to, hey, we were conservative on our estimates, and now they're coming in higher than we thought for revenues. And so that's super helpful to have that type of conservativeness to make sure that we're not overshooting our goals there. So I thought it worked out really well in the end, and I'm looking forward to next year.
Thank you, Beth. Christina.
Not to sound redundant, but this was probably the most difficult budget year thus far of my time being on the council. And it just seems to be getting more difficult every year because everything just keeps going up in
Mhm.
price and there's really not much we can do about it. But as per usual, you know, as we round this year out, it was so difficult, but we're going into next year and there's peace in my heart. I feel safe about it because we've made the difficult decisions and, yeah, we made some amendments to it, but what was presented to us was a very balanced budget, very conservative. And the reason we are where we are today and not underwater is because that has happened year after year after year. So thank you to our staff. And I'm just a little bit nervous about next year, to be honest, but we did have to make some really difficult decisions. And I'm very excited, very, very excited to get another officer on board and actually on board and active in the public eye, because we do owe our citizens everything we can to keep them safe at the very least. So thank you.
Thanks, Christina. Is there anybody else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Okay, it's been moved and forwarded to pass an ordinance in substantial form. Is that attached here too? Adopting the 2026 operating and capital budget. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you. Next is new business item number 3. Consider an ordinance repealing and replacing chapter 18.65 of the Covington Municipal Code relating to critical areas and adopting related amendments to comply with the Growth Management Act periodic updated requirements. Selena.
Sorry, I think I downloaded the wrong deck. Apologies.
That's okay.
I can dish anybody up some more cake while we're.
Should we just start with questions?
Yeah.
It says it should be it, but for some reason the date on there is wrong. You know what I'm gonna do in the effort of time? Let's just go with it.
Wing it.
That was quick. Input and questions already.
Quick question.
You are always efficient, Selena.
Yes.
No, I even wrote my talking points because this is a very hefty discussion, and I know we spent a lot of time at the joint session with the planning commission. So my hope tonight is that I'm providing you a high level overview. I do want to point out that I have now from Facet, our subject matter expert, helping us with this, and in our wetland biologist, and then also Daphne Hernandez, our associate planner, who really just keeps us all organized and does a great job at that. So let me get started here. So the critical areas ordinance, if you remember, we've been working on this for about a year now. It actually started upstream of that with our best available science when we were doing our comprehensive plan. And under the Growth Management Act, cities are required to update their critical areas at the same time they update their comprehensive plan. So technically we should have completed this in December of last year. However, the state gives every city an additional 12 months to get that done because that could be a pretty big feat, especially for small and mid-sized cities. So we took them up on that 1-year extension offer. So tonight, if we get this through the council tonight, this will go off to Commerce and we will have met our deadline. So under the Growth Management Act, the city's required to protect 5 types of critical areas, and ecology and Fish and Wildlife put out a lot of documents that we use to discern our best available science as well as the code requirements and that are outlined tonight. And they produce a model ordinance, which we pretty much follow because that's the best way to ensure that you're going to be aligned. So I say all of that because our local discretion is very limited. Okay, so we can choose how to implement some rules. So, you know, how we want to process applications, but we don't really get to decide protection guidelines. And throughout this process with the Planning Commission, then sharing that with the council, we've done our best to point that out and give that to the Planning Commission around discretion where they have it. And then they've come back and made those decisions. And I'll talk about where those are as I finish out this deck. And really at the end of the day, for Covington, we need to align our best available science with our land use requirements, with our comprehensive plan. And then we want to make sure that anytime we're touching the code, and this is something I've talked about a lot, is how can we modernize it? How can we make it easier to read? It is still quite long, but we did our best between this update to try to use as much plain language as we could. We've learned a lot from our staff as well in implementing it, as well as the development community. So we just take all of that and we hope we create a better document. But I'm also someone that isn't ashamed to come back and make minor changes after we've tested it. So this is just another slide talking about where we get this information. I talked briefly about that. The only thing additional that I'll add is that we did a gap analysis. So what we basically did is we looked at our existing code that we have now, and then I'll use the term crosswalked. We did a gap analysis to where we need to go based on the model ordinance. And that's really where we focused the changes in here. And so we learned in that process that there wasn't a ton of changes that we needed to make. Most of our code today is aligned with the Department of Ecology's model ordinance and all of the guidance. The biggest change that we had to do was really around our stream buffers. So that's where we were not in compliance. And the biggest piece where we were out of compliance with stream buffers was the distance. How big are those buffers that we have to apply to our streams? Our wetland standards were consistent with ecology, and our approaches meet their requirements. Same with our aquifer recharge, geological hazard, and frequently flooded areas. The other big thing that we did in this code update was really emphasize the no net loss. That is something that is required under GMA. And what that means is that you don't want to lose ecological function to a critical area as you're balancing that with development. Now, that's not to say you have to keep it, the line is the line, but there is a sequencing of mitigation that you have to follow to get to any type of change in that buffer area. So obviously you're avoiding. If you can't avoid, then you have to minimize. And when you minimize, you have to rectify or repair that. So if you're losing something, what are you doing to make that better? That could be enhancement. And then you want to reduce or eliminate anything existing that could be causing detriment. Sometimes that's lighting, or maybe there's some structures that are sitting in a buffer that we want to remove. And then you want to, the next one is if you can't do any of those things, if that's just out of there, or you need to add it to your rectifying or your repair, there could be some compensation that you do pay. So you pay into a larger bank that King County manages. And then over time, you mitigate and you monitor that and make sure that that is healthy for up to 5 years. So just a refresher here, the city has 4 types of streams within Covington, and I really think about them as they dissect us kind of in 3 parts. So shoreline of the state, that's not part of this update. That is a separate update we're actually going to be doing in 2029. That's basically everything south of 272nd. So the reaches of Sue's Creek and Jenkins Creek south of 272nd, that's in shoreline. Everything north of there, you've got your fish-bearing streams, which are your Big Sues, your Little Sues, and your Jenkins Creek. You've got a non-fish perennial. We don't really map where those are. We don't know that those exist in Covington. Those haven't shown up. And same with our non-fish seasonal streams. What we kind of conclude is that prior to incorporation, King County's regulations were here, and they often treated those areas what are called native growth protection easements. So they also sometimes act like storm drainage. But overall, type F is mostly what we have in the city, as well as our shoreline. So going through this process and looking at the gap analysis, the largest bulk of our conversation was really around the streams and the stream buffers. And you can see there in that chart on the bottom what we currently had and then where we are going to. And the Planning Commission talked a lot about this. I shared the dashboard with the council about how much impact would be if we went from 125 to 150 to 185, and really 125 was the sweet spot around kind of reducing some of that impact to existing properties that are adjacent to streams or have been platted with streams in their development, along with being able to meet our buildable lands targets and providing adequate protection for those streams. The other update we did was really thinking about our existing properties. So we created a modified review process and provided some new minor improvements that folks can do. One of the things we were running into is as the buffer gets larger and you're adjacent to that and you're in a plat, you can't redo your patio. You can't, you know, do anything that allows you to enjoy your backyard because now that buffer extends further. And for some, you know, that can change what they can do. So we created some modifications around existing platted projects that they could get some minor improvements without going through a full-blown critical area process. So we're really hoping that benefits our existing, and that was really important to the Planning Commission. We spent a lot of time talking about that. I think they would have gone for the larger buffers, honestly, but when they saw the impact to existing residents, it was too much. And so the other thing we did was enforcement. Our current codes has enforcement in it. It's not robust enough. And what we were running into is if someone violated, they filled their wetland or they did some work in a wetland or they, you know, cut down trees in the stream, we could go out and do enforcement, but there was no process for remedy. And so we utilized the model ordinance process for that and came up with some stronger tools to ensure compliance. And then that we're looking at those restoration standards to make sure that people go back in and plant the trees that they may have taken out of that buffer area. So that just helps our code compliance team. And lastly, because when we touch one part of the code, you can't help but touch other parts of the code. And so as a result of some of the changes in the 1865, we had to update some other sections of code there because they were tied to the CAO or they referenced certain code sections. So that is as fast and furious as I can possibly make it. I'm here if you have any questions.
Does council have any questions for Selena? Okay. Thank you, Selena. It was a very good presentation. Before us tonight, council, is the potential to pass an ordinance repealing and replacing chapter 18.65 of the Covington Municipal Code critical areas in its entirety and adopting updated regulations consistent with state law and best available science as set forth in exhibits A through D to the ordinance. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Beth, would you like to speak to your motion?
It was Christina.
Oh, it's Christina. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, sure. I know this is a difficult and a heavy lift. I've never heard Covington taking the extension, but no, I'm glad it was done thoroughly and well and very thought out. I just want to say I appreciate all the time and work that went into this. I know that buffers, especially to developers and, you know, to anyone who wants to build a home in Covington are a sensitive subject and they can do a lot as far as limiting. But, you know, the fact that the Planning Commission both was considerate of what that would do to existing properties, because truly that's, I mean, while we want to be compliant and we want to protect certain things, we also want to protect, you know, the quality of life for our residents who maybe didn't choose the type of property they live on, but they moved into a ready home and they want to live their life there with their children. So I just really appreciate the thoughtfulness that went into that. So hurrah.
Thank you, Christina.
Thank you.
Debbie, would you like to speak to your second?
Thank you. Well, Selena, thank you to you and your team and especially to the Planning Commission. Well, not especially, but also to the Planning Commission. This was a lot of work and it was a lot of information to share with some of us that this is real Greek. I learned a lot, but I feel very confident that we have made the right balance of protecting critical areas and yet having a reasonable buffer for residents. So thank you very much. I'm good with this.
Anybody else wish to speak for or against the motion? Just want to say, I know that while it may seem like your presentation was quick, a lot of work went into this by the Planning Commission, by your team, and before us tonight for council was over 200 pages of reading.
Mhm.
So it's not just, we're just gonna pass it. A lot of hard work went into this to make sure that we are doing the right thing. So thank you. It's been moved and seconded to pass an ordinance repealing and replacing chapter 18.65 of the Covington Municipal Code, critical areas in its entirety, and adopting updated regulations consistent with state law and best available science as set forth in exhibits A through D to the ordinance. All those in favor state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you all very much, and thank you again to your team, Selena, and to the Planning Commission. That concludes new business tonight. Looking at the future agenda, we do not have another meeting until January 13th. We will have a joint study session with the Youth Council, and there'll be several other items. That's 5 weeks away. And so does council have anything they'd like to see on a future agenda? All right. Then with that, we'll move into council staff comments. Chief.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. We have the Shop at the Cop this Saturday at 8:30 if you want a breakfast. It's at Walmart. We are hoping to have just under 300 kids show up. So you're there, great. But we're looking forward to a good event. Thanks.
Thank you. Ethan. You want? Yep, Ethan.
Yeah, good evening, Mayor and Council. Nothing from me tonight.
Thank you, Ethan. Don.
It's been a busy day or two here with all the rain we have out there. So as mentioned earlier, just with the flooding and different things along those lines, we do have one issue. I think it was kind of mentioned along 180th there, south of CCP, that we are monitoring and having to pump there because of some flooding there from Little Sioux Creek. And so we actually do have someone also that will be here through the night monitoring all of that to make sure that that is all okay. And so hopefully, fingers crossed, we are supposed to have another wave coming in starting about 9 o'clock tonight. So for the next probably 24 hours. So it's going to be a little bit nasty. So anyway, be safe. And I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Selena.
Nothing for me tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Selena. Casey.
Nothing for me either. Thank you.
Thank you, Casey. Mark.
Thank you, Mayor. We do have an executive session tonight to review the performance of a public employee pursuant to RCW 4230-110 sub 1 sub little g. And other than that, I have no additional report. Thank you.
Thank you, Ethan. Mark, sorry. Thank you, Mark.
We knew who you were talking about, Mayor. I wanted to share with council that last couple weeks, 2 weeks ago, I was able to meet with the Valley Medical Board of Directors. And that was a really great experience. I shared our vision for a whole health community center here in Covington in partnership with them. They were all really excited about it. This was the first time I was able to get before them on this project. So I'm excited to see this move forward. I met with our internal team. We're going to start working on a memorandum of understanding and start moving forward in that way. So excited about that. I did want to share a couple of numbers from our clean team throughout the year, ending in November anyway. And not just from our clean team, but from the ripple effect and the other volunteers as part of that. So January to November, we collected 1,059 buckets of garbage. Wow. 154 bags of garbage, had 301 volunteers for a total of 816 hours of volunteer service around the community. I just think that's a beautiful thing. You do plant one seed with that, and that's really grown beautifully. I think with that, that's it. If you want to come see Santa Claus tomorrow night at the library, he'll be there. It should be fun. And Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Thank you, Regan. Krista.
Good evening, council. I don't have anything. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Christina.
Yeah. It's an exciting day. I guess I'll go first since that's where I'm sitting, but Joe, you were one of the first people that I met when I first ran Gosh, why do I get choked about everything? It's okay. It's coming
Okay,
from the
I'm
heart.
gonna cry too, don't worry.
Anyway, you've just always been so kind. I think kindness is one of your strong suits, and it's been a joy to work with you, mostly joke with you. No, but truly, like you can take a punch, and that says a lot. It says a lot for a public official, and it says a lot for someone who serves. And personally, I'm actually really excited. I know a lot of pretty monumental things are changing right now. Like you're turning 29 tomorrow.
100%, 29, 100%.
Okay, fine. Too bad. Own it. I'm owning it.
Yeah, 40
we both
tomorrow.
worked. Yeah, 40 is fucking awesome. But something changes. Something clicks. It's actually really great, and I'm genuinely excited for this new chapter because it's not just a door opening. I feel like a door is gonna just freaking swing, bust open, and should you choose to embrace it, I think the world is at your feet, and you are capable. You're awesome. You've done good work. It doesn't end here, and at least it better not, or I'll come find you. You owe it to yourself to continue to do good work, and it's been an honor to work with you, truly. So from the bottom of my heart, I'm excited for you. This isn't a sad day. I think this is an exciting day. And yeah, so thank you to an amazing meeting and all the hard. Everything's so silent now. It's just like you can hear a pin drop. But no, truly, thank you to everyone for a great meeting. Some big things happened today, so appreciate you all.
Thank you, Christina. Beth.
I know I already said my comments to you, and I know they won't be the last because I'm sure we're going to stay in touch. Whether it's T-Bird games or doing things in the community. Appreciate all the service and getting a chance to know you as a person and learn more about your family. And I do look forward to other great things that you'll do in the future. So I appreciate what you've done. I do want to say that I do plan on being at Shop with a Cop. Our Rotary supports that event as well. So, and I know that's also the day for Wreaths Across America. And I think a few of our other council members are already have that covered. So I will represent both the city, and as I usually do, have 3 name badges and little hat here and but we've got that. And I did want to also bring this up with Rotary. We meet Wednesday nights, so unfortunately there will be no visiting Santa Claus at the library. However, we are having an interesting speaker tomorrow night. She is Tina Rothert, who was the grandmother that was held at gunpoint at BECU. And she's also Scout leader, Boy Scout leader. And so we have that connection through the Veterans Day event. So she'll be speaking about her 1.5-year recovery and her experience through the justice system. And the meeting would be open. I would say if anyone in here is interested, let me know. That way we can plan for people, but we do meet over at Affinity. It'll start at 5:30. And with that, thanks again. The gift of a fairly quick meeting. Yay. And
We're not done yet.
we're not.
Executive session. Yeah, executive session.
That's done. The budget and the critical area one done. So anyway, if I don't see y'all, have a happy holiday.
Thank you, Beth.
Yeah.
Sean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, Joe, it's been a pleasure working with you. I'm impressed with your, at a very young age, your commitment to public service. That's always been impressive to me. But I also, I don't know if other people will mention it, but I also enjoyed watching you set a goal of becoming a teacher, finishing your undergrad degree while you're up here, and making that dream come true. Really, I don't know what the right word was, but it was just, it was empowering and inspiring to see you do that. That was really, really impressive. So I know that that ability and that skill will do you well going forward. And yeah, and happy birthday tomorrow. So I attended the AWC elected officials training this last weekend. It was right here in Covington. It was very well attended. I don't know how many people there were, but like 30 or so. Room was packed. So AWC did a good job of kind of just, well, they had a slide where it was just basically a fire, drinking from a fire hose. I mean, you're getting introduced to a lot of the issues and things you'll need to know as a new elected official. I took it as a refresher. So if you get an opportunity to take it, I don't know if they'll do it annually, but if you do get an opportunity, it's a really good reminder of some of the things we're supposed to be doing and how we're supposed to be doing it. So I encourage that. Really appreciate the discussion and the process for this year's budget. I did have a conversation with someone today about city government and city management, and how some cities have huge deficits and others like us are blessed that we have very conservative approaches to our budgets, which means it makes our decisions easier up here on the dais. So I really appreciate that. And then finally, we didn't have another RFA meeting, but Chief Kelch just showed me some data that comes specifically from Covington for some of our calls for service. I wrote down basically the rough estimates. Calls for service in Covington alone this year was about 2,400 calls. And this time, or by the end of December for last year, it was about 2,600. So as you can see, we're right on pace for what we typically have calls for services for. And probably doesn't come as a surprise either. The lion's share of those calls are EMS calls. So our fire service does a lot more, as you'll see, than respond to fires. The service has evolved over time to provide that first line of emergency response, medical response for a lot of these calls, but also, as we're seeing tonight, they're going to be doing possibly search and rescue as well. So I really appreciate what our fire service does and how they keep us safe out there. So I think that's it. That's all I got. Great. Thank you. Sean. Oh, happy holidays. Sorry, perhaps to everyone. So I won't see you till next year, and happy New Year. So Debbie.
Thank you. I'll save my comments for Joe till the end, but I wanted to wish Joe and Beth an early birthday tomorrow. And so Beth mentioned Wreaths Across America. It's a national program. People volunteer to buy wreaths that will be distributed to graves on the 13th of December. Well, it's not always the 13th, but it's whatever, second Saturday. And our Rotary Club has embraced that program. And so we gave a donation, and then a few of us will be volunteering that day to place the leaves on the graves. There will not be enough for everyone, but we do place them on as many graves as we have to cover. Are you speaking that day?
Yep.
Okay. So usually you are. So I'm looking forward to that. And then also in January, we get another group of volunteers that go back and collect the recyclable wreaths. So if that date comes up before our next council meeting, I'll let you know.
February 19th.
Thank you.
Martin Luther King.
Already got it.
Okay, thank you. So we will be meeting before that. I'll remind everyone in case you want to come out. Just a couple quick things. Beth and I attended the SCA annual meeting last week. We got to meet the new King County executive and hear a little bit about his agenda. Just quickly, he talked about breaking the cycle, building for affordability, boots on the ground, meaning he and his staff will be visible, and better government. So, we'll see, but I have some hope that we're going to see some improvements. And then today I sat in on the SCA South Caucus meeting. Every mayor spoke and gave at least one of the issues that are important to their city. Jeff mentioned public safety. That resonated with everyone. Flock cameras came up. And so I'm kind of sensing that some cities are ready to embrace and move forward with flock cameras. Some cities are pulling back. I didn't hear of any of the cities on that call today, but there is a new concern about domestic violence and people that are perhaps tapping into the data and getting that for that, and then retention storage is a bit. So I know we're going to talk about that more later, but there was a new House bill that I was not aware of that they mentioned today, and it's House Bill 2095, and it's a bill that if a driver hits a pedestrian in a sidewalk, they are automatically at fault. And it will change some laws, and it will have an impact on cities. So I'm going to be watching for that. And then another one that I hadn't heard of, it's a task force being formed in the legislature to look at unifying our courts. So they want to look at the pros and cons of bringing our court systems, both from municipal and county, together into one. And it sounded like from the discussion that could have huge impact on our costs. Also that came up that we keep talking about is the public defender funding or lack thereof. So I want to say thank you to everyone for this great year. And I think next year is going to be another exciting year for us. And Joe, for you, I think you have the opportunity now to go do great things. I want to say thank you for all that you've done for the council and for the city, but you helped me when I was new 3 years ago. I found you to be very transparent and open. I could come with questions, and I told you before, this council is not going to be the same without you. But I know that you're going to do great things. And also, as Sean mentioned, it's been a pleasure to watch you tackle one of your dreams and ace it. So congratulations on your future.
Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Jennifer.
I'll start with a couple things and then I'll talk to you, Joe. Treat lady was amazing. No one mentioned that, so I thought I'll bring that up. That was super fun. I got to bring my little 3-year-old nephew and chase him around. But the event was great as usual. And tomorrow I'm going to the salmon habitat restoration 25-year celebration. The other watershed forums will be there and sharing information about, what the last 25 years have looked like. And that's up in Seattle. So that should be a fun event. For Joe, I'm going to miss you, sitting next to each other. We've gotten to know each other really well. I so appreciate your integrity. Integrity is such an important value and character in a human being. And it radiates from you. You are, and we've said this before in other forums, we disagree probably more than anyone on council. We can actually argue with each other and walk away laughing at the end of the meeting. You embrace and embody what it really means to be part of a democratic government, or, I'm just thinking my grandpa would be like, we're not a democracy. I can hear it in my head right now, but yes, the foundation of democracy, that open communication, consensus building, respecting other people. And you have always brought that day in and day out. From very beginning of council, you were so warm and inviting, and I have always appreciated what you see is what you get. You're not full of it. You're the real deal. And watching the last several years of your growth as a human, as you're juggling life and multiple jobs and your family and that crazy flood, and you just keep persevering over and over again. We are so fortunate to have been part of your journey. Thank you. Truly from the bottom of my heart. I'm going to miss you right here. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. So Joe, since this is the last staff comment, council, would you like to go next, or would you like to go last?
Go last, please.
You bet. Chief, I'm sorry, I will not be able to make it to Shop with a Cop. I'll be at the Wreaths Across America. I spoke with Cindy, who is overseeing the event at Tahoma Cemetery. It does start at 9, but it's recommended if anybody wants to be there before 8 a.m. The parking, there is construction going on at the cemetery. They are, well, it's kind of good or bad. They are expanding the cemetery for several more thousand spots. So parking will be at a premium. A good thing, last year, a little over 4,000 wreaths were sponsored. This year, there's close to 7,000 wreaths coming. That will be due to changes at the cemetery and the construction. The wreaths will not arrive until Saturday morning of the event. And then, so we'll be placing them right away that morning. And there's usually several, I think over 1,000 people showed up last year to place wreaths. So it'll be a busy day. The tree lighting was outstanding. I was a little concerned when I was told that the risers wouldn't be there. And I shared that with Regan and staff, but it actually worked out much better. In fact, the Rainier Symphony preferred not having the risers so that they could sing. So it was a good choice by Ethan, Don, and everybody who worked on that, their team. So I was very impressed, and the whole event went very well. It was a very good, very organized event. So this Saturday is Wreaths Across America. This Saturday is Shop with a Cop. Next Saturday is the Youth Council's volunteering at the storehouse. So anybody that wants to help volunteer, please let Krista know so that she can notice if there's more than 3 of us at that event. Next Tuesday is the South Sound Chambers of Commerce Legislative Coalition Breakfast. It is at the Emerald Downs again. It is packed. I don't even know if there's seats available. We have Attorney General Nick is going to be there as one of the keynote speakers. Governor Ferguson is potentially going to show up. Chris Stearns is on the panel and several other electeds. It is a packed agenda for that morning. We're meeting with Deborah Intiman next Tuesday right after that. We're starting our meetings. We've already met with Senator Kaufman, and then we're meeting with Chris Stearns tentatively on January 2nd. And then they're setting up meetings for us during the session for that. And I want to echo everybody's comments about the budget this year. Very well done. And I want to thank council. I know we had some strong discussions, but thank you. We finally are working a way to get another officer into Covington. So thank you all for that. And Joe, I remember when you were running, you didn't come to my door, but you must have hit every other door in Covington because your tenacity, wanting to get elected, wanting to make a difference. When you got elected, you showed up at the council meeting in November saying that you were going to be mayor. You had energy. And then when I told you Margaret was going to be mayor, then you wanted to be mayor pro tem and you didn't take me. And then you said, well, then, and I said I was going to be mayor pro tem, but you never gave up and you kept pushing. And, there's that saying, when one door closes, another one opens. You don't even wait for that door to close. You go on. If you see that there's an obstacle, you keep going, you keep going, you keep going. And like everyone has said, watching you grow from when you started, getting your teacher's degree, being able to teach, not giving up from where you went to where you're at now, getting home. I remember all the emails I got asking for my evaluation of you, which, I really appreciated because it was an honor to be able to, give an honest opinion about how well you are, how well respected, your integrity. The Kent School District, should be honored to have you as a teacher. You do a great job. When I speak in classrooms, I am always impressed with how the teachers are able to work with the students from kindergarten on up to seniors. And just thank you for all you do. Thank you for everything you've done. I know that this might be your last council meeting of this year, but I look forward to everything that you're going to continue doing in Covington. And no matter what you do, always feel free to reach out. I'm sure anyone here would be happy to step in and be right by your side.
Thank you.
Yep. So thank you, Joe, for everything you've done. Yep. That's it.
I guess before I give this, I will say two things. Pick tomorrow, Christina, since it is my birthday, can you please go?
I'll get back to you.
Okay. Secondly, I know it's a very busy day on the 13th. A very good amount of our residents go to Kent Lake High School, and a good amount of those residents are on the wrestling team. And Kent Lake High School is having a wrestling tournament. It's called the Covtown Throwdown. It will be all day. There's like 20 teams there. So even if you can't find a wrestler from Kent Lake to root for, you'll find somebody. It's both boys and girls wrestling will be there. I'll be there for most of my day. So go and support some of our residents after you do the 47 other things that are happening on Saturday. I guess you should all know you are in trouble. I did actually write something, which is rare. So thank you everyone for this wonderful evening. Granted, I do wish we weren't doing this, because you will be seeing me cry, and I don't like doing that. However, I thank you for making tonight special. You've all made an impact on my life and given me the chance to make my community better. I want to start by saying thank you. Thank you to the people of Covington. You gave me the opportunity of a lifetime to serve as your representative on this council. I'll be internally grateful for that, for the trust you bestowed upon me. I want to thank former council member Jim Scott, the lessons on how to ensure we are always thinking of the effect of our decisions and what our residents think of our actions. Thank you, former council member Wayne Snowy. When I was first elected, I sat right there, right where Christina sits. And Wayne sat right where Beth sits. He taught me from that seat what good questions were, how to ask why and not sound rude. But most importantly, he taught me to listen to everything before making up my mind. He also got me in my love of all things transit. Mayor Margaret Hardo, we did not always agree, but you taught me that the most important part of this job is to listen and be patient. Thank you for those lessons. Mark Lanza. When I told Mark I was going to mention him, his exact words, "Haven't you pissed off enough people?" When Mark was on this council, we would debate our topics through text here at the dais. I was really just seeking advice from a wise elder to make sure. I was not expecting you to be here, by the way, to make sure I fully understood our topic. Mark, you may have been one of the best teachers I had on this council, and I will be forever grateful to you and your friendship. To the staff, I have left a letter for each of you, either at your chair, so those of you here, you've gotten it. I'm sure some of you have already read it, or in your mailbox. So for all of you who are not here tonight, you have a letter from me. Also, I do write in cursive most of the time, so I apologize if it is hard to read. This job is hard. For the life of me, I do not know how any of us could do it without all of you and the work you do. You are the lifeblood of the city. Thank you for all that you do. Regan Boley, you also have a letter. But I would be remiss if I did not let the public know how wonderful of a human you are. 11 years ago, you sat in that conference room with Jeff, myself, Mark, and all those others who were on the council at the time, interviewing to be our next city manager. You brought your 9-month pregnant wife with you. Erin was somewhere in this building patiently waiting for you as we found out how wonderful you were. Of all the decisions we have made from this dais, I think hiring you was easily in the top 3. Thank you, Regan, for your friendship, for your kind words, and for hearing out all of my crazy ideas. I may be leaving, but the city is in great hands with you at the helm. To my fellow council members, you do not have letters. But what you do have is my eternal gratitude. You all have decided that making your community better is a job that is worth it. You all serve on regional committees to promote Covington and to ensure everyone is heard. We have taken former Auburn Mayor Pete Lewis's saying of you're either at the table or you're on the menu to heart in our efforts to make Covington the best. Thank you for the work you do. Christina, you make everything we do here the most important thing in the world. That is because you want your kids to grow up in a community that cares, a community that is responsible. Thank you for the work you do. Beth, you speak for those who cannot, our trees, our environment, and you do all of that to ensure that we are doing the right things, to ensure we make all of that and take all of that into consideration before we make a decision. Sean, you want to see our community grow with a purpose, but also ensuring that we are being responsible in that growth as to not dramatically harm our environment. I also still blame you for why I cannot drink unfiltered water. Debbie, you came to the council wanting to make our community care and to grow responsibly. You raised your family here and saw what we can be, and you have ran with that. I appreciate all the work you do and will continue to do. Jennifer, you may have been the closest confidant I've had over the last few years. But that's because you've had the good fortune of sitting next to me. We did not always agree, but we knew that true friendship means that you do not always have to agree. I know I won't be here every week with you, but please make sure you text me when Girl Scout cookies go on sale. Jeff, Mr. Mayor, you are the rudder that steers this ship. You ensure that we do not go in the wrong direction and stay on topic. Your leadership is one that I think other cities should come and study because you may be the best mayor in Washington. I thank you all for your friendship and wish you all the success, all the best success in the years to come. My time on this council had its ups and downs. I was at times the only no vote. I was at times disappointed with what we decided. But in the long run, what mattered is we respected each other. As Oscar Wilde said, be yourself. Everybody else is already taken. I believe we have all been true to ourselves. We brought our own thoughts, worries, strengths, and weaknesses to this dais. We made everything important, even down to what cake we had tonight. And it was because we are ourselves. This council works so well together because our respect towards one another. I hope and pray this will never change. I've spent 12 years of my life at this dais. It will be weird not to come here on the second and fourth Tuesday of the month, but I'm sure I will find something to occupy my time. In those 12 years, I got to learn a lot of different things. I spent time talking about trash on the MISWAC. Jeff, I still wish you could have been there instead of me. I was able to spend time learning how the county was helping the survivors of domestic violence on the Domestic Violence Initiative Task Force. I got to talk about transit a lot, serving as the chair of the SEA RTC caucus and the vice chair of the RTC. Please continue to let King County know of our needs for more transit. I also got to learn about the things affecting our neighboring cities on the Public Issues Committee, where I was lucky enough to serve the last 2 years as the vice chair. All of these committees taught me that we are stronger together than going at it alone. Please continue to serve regionally and make the voice of Covington heard loud and clear. As Jennifer probably can see, the speech was not printed on a printer. I actually bought a typewriter and wrote the whole thing on it. Now I do need to learn how to push the keys harder. I have a thing for nostalgia. And that nostalgia makes me think fondly of my time here. My very first council meeting was January 14th, 2014. We began at 6 p.m. with interviews for commissions, and I still had not been sworn in. We then had a council meeting followed by an executive session. The only difference between my first and my last meeting is that at 6 p.m. today, we had pizza and no interviews. My nostalgia reminds me of a quote from one of the great philosophers of the 20th century, Theodore Geisel, better known as Dr. Seuss. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. How I hope my community become better will look differently now. But know that I am not done helping Covington grow towards greatness. To end this, so we can move on to our executive session. There's a few more people I want to thank. Mom, who is listening. Mom and Bob, your support, your love, and your belief in me on this crazy adventure has meant everything to me. Dad, who is also watching, they're both in different parts of Tennessee right now, but Dad and Cindy, you have listened to my crazy ideas, helped me with my campaign, and most importantly, you never thought this was a bad idea. Logan, you've only known me as a city council member. Now Dad gets to be there every night to read with you, tuck you in, and just be Dad. Ryan, you were the original campaign team. You knocked on doors with me. You believed in me. 12 years ago, you stood right there at the front of the stairs, held this Bible, while Sharon Scott swore me in. Watching you grow into the man you've become has been one of the greatest joys of my life. And I cannot wait to see what your future holds. Cynthia, you were the one who put the idea for me to run for council into my head. I don't think either of us thought it would last this long, but here we are. Thank you for standing beside me from way far in the back. Mom, Dad, Bob, Cindy, Logan, Ryan, and Cynthia. I love you all very much. Thank you all for being my rocks. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, it's not the destination, it's the journey. It's been one hell of a journey. Thank you all for being a part of it. I love and will miss you all.
That was beautiful.
Joe, you will definitely be missed. Thank you. I don't know how you can top that, sir, but yeah, I can see the small type from the Royal typewriter. We'll move into our second public comment period. Speakers will state their name, organization, and whether they are a Covington resident. Comments are directed to City Council, not the audience or staff. Comments are to be related to city business. Comments are not intended for conversation or debate and are limited to 4 minutes per speaker. For attendees participating by Zoom, please click the raise hand button. For attendees participating by phone, dial *9 to raise your hand. Once the city grants permission to speak, press unmute in Zoom or dial *6 to unmute by phone. For anybody in the audience wishing to address council this evening, please approach the podium. Mark. Thank you for being here tonight, Mark.
It's great to be here. Thank you. Mark Lanza, and a Covington resident. I wanted to start by congratulating Riley. Sometime in July, I'm out cleaning my car in my driveway. And Riley comes up on her scooter.
Mhm.
And the first thing I thought was she's gonna try and sell me gutters or some kind of. But we had a really nice talk, and I was really impressed with how articulate she was and her enthusiasm for the job. And so at the end of that conversation, I was convinced that no matter how the election turned out, that position number 4 was going to be represented well. I guess if I was going to give you any advice, I would just say, keep an open mind. Don't be afraid to ask questions. You've got the greatest staff in King County. You've got the greatest council here in King County, a wealth of knowledge. Remember that most issues are multifaceted and all different shades of gray. Listen to what they had to say, and then always make your decision in what is ever in the best interest of the city. And congratulations again. Joe, I was wondering, what I was going to say when I came up here.
I've been wondering the same thing.
And I thought of all accomplishments, and I got nothing.
Yes, I got Mark to not say something.
And I realized I was here.
Love you too.
But I do remember when you first started. You were a young kid, inexperienced, not sure how things worked. Some things never change. But seriously, as I got to know you, I think one of the things that always impressed me was, like, we disagree politically, we're probably on polar opposites. But you surprised me with a lot of your votes. And I came to the realization quickly that you were going to put personal feelings, personal politics, whatever aside, and do what was ever best that you thought for the city, which I think is the greatest compliment that you can give any elected official. I want to thank you for all the service that you did put in. It was great working with you on the council. I enjoyed our discussions. It was nice, you said, becoming friends, along with being a colleague. And I did thoroughly enjoy the time that we spent together on the council. You mentioned about you wanted to make your community better. And as you walk around the city and look around, you'll see signs of the impact that you had on the city. And you did make this a better community. And I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for all the time, effort that you put in. It's not for everybody. So once again, thanks. I'm kind of at a loss for words here. Thank you. The only other thing I'd like to say is thank you to the staff for everything you've always done. Thank you all for the work that you put in. It can be thankless. You don't get the credit that you deserve, and you get a lot of criticism that you don't deserve. But, take solace in knowing that there are people out there that do appreciate what you do. And I got 3 seconds left. I'm going to use every one of them.
Thank you.
Mark, thank you. It's always a pleasure to see you and hear you speak. So thank you for being here tonight. Is there anybody else in the audience wishing to address council? Is there anybody online wishing to address council? Please raise your hand. Again, if you're on phone, just press *9 to raise your hand. All right, seeing nobody else approach the podium, nobody raise their hand, we will close this public comment period. We will move into executive session to review the performance of a public employee pursuant to RCW 42.30.110 subsection 1, subsection G for approximately 1 hour, ending at approximately 9:35. No further action will be taken at that time. Thank you all for being here tonight. I hope you all have a very happy holidays and a very Merry Christmas.